Sonic flosses.
Whoa!
The blue blur blasted onto the big screen and everybody's all abuzz about it, sort of. I went and saw the film on opening day with the old GF and we both wore Sonic hats like big dumb winners. To be honest, I wasn't really hyped for the movie or anything. I love Sonic and I love most Sonic media outside of, you know, the games. But the movie didn't sit well with me ever since the reveal trailer, and no, not because of the original Sonic. I'm not really gonna talk too much about that whole situation because it's kind of been done to death, but I will at least give it credit for outing so many idiots and letting me know who I never need to talk to. Because if you think the redesign was planned from the get-go, you're wrong. They had a ton of merch for the original design. Ha! Epic prank, bro. We just spent a fortune on this merch that's now useless, just so you wouldn't think it's a stunt. Bringing in Tyson was obviously the best choice since every Sonic-related thing he's touched has been almost universally loved and admired. But this also kind of showcased a fault I had. Ever since the first trailer, even if you didn't factor in Sonic's look, it was obvious the writers just didn't really know or care for the source material. Almost like every fucking movie adaptation. Most of the homages were animated ones, meaning they were most likely changed when Sonic got his redesign, and Tyson probably chimed in like, okay, so if you actually played the game, the movie itself was alright. It was pretty basic. Absolutely no twists. Most of the things were pretty formulaic or cheesy. It's kind of gotten this weird narrative like it's some underdog and the greatest video game movie of all time, but it doesn't really take too much to swim to the top of that toilet bowl. A lot of the times, it didn't even feel like Sonic or video game related. Honestly, the Sonic community is such a clusterfuck anyway, and this might actually make it worse. You have people pushing for Sonic to be more obnoxious, less obnoxious, silent, faster, different, 3D, 2D. I think the community had so long between Mania and Another Win that it just feels a little starved. And now you have people being like, oh, Sonic, yes, he should be just like he is in the movie, and alright, can we decide on a Sonic? There's a lot of Sonics. How am I supposed to love a character if I don't know which one it is? Ultimately, it's a pretty basic animated partner road trip movie. It's kind of like Detective Pikachu. Nobody would care about these movies if they had like a generic alien or whatever instead of well-known characters tied to them. Because without them, they are like the most by-the-books films of their genre. They trick people with a familiar face and then shove something else down your throat. That being said though, being a Sonic fan, I did still enjoy it. But no, I don't think it's anything anyone has to see, but would make for like a great cheap showing or a drinking game when it comes to Netflix or whatever. I'm just gonna kind of talk through the movie real quick, so if you don't want any spoilers, you might want to skip ahead to this part. But again, it's so formulaic, I don't really know if it's spoiling much, but whatever, here we go. The exposition of the film is pretty bad. You get a random narration from Sonic at the start that's like, bet you want to know how I wound up here, and it's really only used twice, and it showcases how he gets to Earth and plays it up like a big dramatic thing, but all you had was Sonic be like, I grew up here, and then wham! Goodbye, remnant of the old movie, because seriously, Longclaw clearly did not get a rework when the other characters got the shift away from the realistic style. Sonic doesn't always feel like Sonic. Any other Sonic would be exploring and venturing, but this one stays in one town and spies on everyone because everyone wants his speed, I guess. Also, it's almost a fact that Sonic has spied on people throughout the town having sex, and I don't know how to feel about that. Sonic is also inconsistent. He is constantly making pop culture references, which just doesn't feel right. Even in the campy Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, I don't really recall him being like, wow, it's celebrity, or I'm doing celebrity. If he impersonated one, it was just that. Movie Sonic just drops whatever name he can, whenever he can, so people can be like, I know that! But I guess that's what drew me into the movie in the first damn place, so what else can I expect? So anyways, Sonic sees people being happy together and then realizes that he's much like his fans. Alone. So he has to go fast to dry his tears and then go supersonic and the problem's chronic. The government notices and wonders if life exists beyond it. They decide that they need to sate, so they just accelerate into oblivion. And bring in Robotnik because he's smart and people don't like him because he's a jerky jerk. Sonic realizes that he needs to book it, and so he hides in the cop's house, who surprises him and shoots him with a drink. And Sonic drops a ring portal that he then drops his bag of warp rings into, which he needs to, leave Earth. So he needs to go there, and he needs the cop to take him, who sort of decides to help him because he's a helper, but this was kind of an issue for me. The reasoning is, Sonic doesn't know where to go. You just had him make an Amazon reference. You want to try and tell me that he doesn't know how to read a map or use the internet? Even without that, with how fast you have him go, he couldn't just run? around and look at signs. Anyways, I will chalk it up to he's lonely and he just wanted to trick the dude into being his friend. But again, Sonic's inconsistent. So they road trip and Sonic is all excited about different things, which just begs the question, why didn't you fucking travel at all? You had to be kept a secret, not stationary. Anyway, they wind up at a bar and Sonic apparently doesn't know what chili dogs or a bucket list is. But you know about buffalo wings, so Sonic is sad because he's leaving Earth and won't get to do stuff, so they montage. Talk more, and he does at least have a line that I honestly feel was like Tyson's doing again, where he looked at the movie and was like, do you even know Sonic? So he does mention chili dogs at least, and then they sleep and continue down the road. Robotnik keeps chasing him because he's the government hire with his own plans and he wants Sonic's power. Meanwhile, the cop drops the ball and tells Sonic he's leaving Green Hill, and Sonic's like, no, you can't do that because... So he gets sad mad and does lightning shit again. And I know I already mentioned it, but fuck! The flossing looks so out of place. They even changed it from the dance he does in the trailers. Clearly a last minute, like, people will clap decision. It doesn't ruin the movie for me when I see it in films. I know it's popular because Fortnite stole it, but it definitely feels like a bunch of suits just kind of like greedily rubbing their hands together, knowing the kids will scream and tell other kids to see it cause floss. And to be fair, flossing dance never looks natural. Like when I go out to eat and some random Zoom starts flossing after his mom orders him tendies, I can't help but feel creeped out. I think I'd be more terrified if monsters in Silent Hill games or whatever flossed at me instead of doing like twitchy movements, because it just looks so unnatural and cultish. Anyways, back to Sonic. He was probably like the weakest bit of the main cast. I got nothing against Ben Schwartz. I think he played the character well with the writing he was given, but he was just the worst at points. James Marsden was pretty delightful, and Jim Carrey, of course, stole the show, tapping into some of his classic fun roles. Plus, Robotnik is generally the best part of Sonic cartoons and cutscenes. I often wonder why these obviously fan-focused movies don't focus on the fans, especially when it comes to casting. I don't think anyone here was like a huge fan of Sonic or anything. Roger Craig Smith has been killing it as Sonic and apparently was passed on because I guess he's not in more cartoons and movies, so his name wouldn't do as well for interviews, coverage, posters, or whatever, since every movie poster and trailer now is name you know. Yeah, it's the character. The same thing is happening in that new Scoob movie. You've had a fantastic cast that fit the characters, but why have them when you can have trendy current actor? At least Scooby is still played by Frank, who coincidentally has also voiced Fred for 50 years. So in a movie like this with an animated character, why not just have the original voice actors for the animated characters? Especially in this movie when you have voiced by the regular VA and I mean, the answer is obviously money. I'm actually curious if it would hurt their profits because I almost feel like it'd be cheaper to hire Roger and would make the film feel more genuine, which would more than likely increase sales. But what do I know? I just know plenty of people who skipped on it because it felt like a corporate cash grab. However, despite the obvious money greed, I will give it credit that they did actually listen to the fans and work so hard to make something more liked by those it was trying to cater to. That is a fantastic practice and a big reason I went to see it opening day. I want to support decisions like this, where people delay things to make them better. Without it, corporate stuff won't think that listening to fans will lead to more profit, and that's all that matters. Plus, despite the gripes, as I did say, but it was the tiny point, I did enjoy it. It isn't bad. Just something I've seen again and again. So, if you haven't seen any buddy cop road trippy movie in the last 20 years, enjoy, it'll be great. I will say though that the product placement was a little obnoxious for two scenes in particular. One was played off as a joke and the other was for Zillow, and it had a shot that is almost identical to commercials where it was just the shot of the laptop on a counter at the home page, had the logo in view, and they're like, wow, haha, Zillow is great. I did find it funny though that the delay made one of the product placements a little off. They had a bit where they talked about Olive Garden's never-ending pasta bowl, which would have been going on at the time of the original release, but nope. As I said, all the pop culture references are gonna make this movie dated pretty fast. But hey, if anything, that's true to form because it wouldn't be Sonic if he didn't do things fast!